The United States had many reasons for entering World War I. The war began in 1914 because of the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand of Austria by a Bosnian Serb. The war was being fought with Germany, Italy, and Austria-Hungary against Russia, Britain, and France. The United States would end up joining Britain's side. The war lasted until 1918. This was a year after the United States joined. Among the reasons for the entrance of the United States was the sinking of their transportation ships, the interception of the Zimmermann telegram, the unrestricted submarine warfare, as well as the massive amounts of propaganda against Germany. Though the United States tried to stay neutral during the war, they inevitably joined the combat. In early 1915, during the ongoing war, Germany declared the area around the British Isles a war zone, this meaning that any merchant ships, including ones from neutral countries, like the United States, were open to be attacked by the German Navy. This wasn't necessarily a decision based on morals, but war is a time for extreme strategies. During the many attacks in this area upon entering ships, one very important American ship was attacked and sunk, the Lusitania. This attack against an unarmed and neutral ship convinced President Woodrow Wilson of the United States to send a letter to the German government demanding that attacks on unarmed ships must stop. The German government reluctantly agreed, in a way, but they wouldn't stop forever. Although many people believe that the sinking of the American ship, the Lusitania, was the reason that the U.S. declared war on Germany in World War I, that is not the case. The sinking of the Lusitania pissed off the United States and the American people, but the sinking of the ship occurred in 1915, and the United States declared war in 1917. This is 2 years later. The sinking of the Lusitania angered the U.S., but it prompted them to speak to the Germans about the attacks on unarmed ships. When the United States finally got the Germans to mind their own business, they didn't realize that the Germans were lying. Great Britain and the United States were allies and good trading partners during the time of the war, despite the United States' neutrality. While U.S. ships were traveling to Britain to transport goods, the Germans frequently sunk the U.S. ships. This was truly instigating war because the United States was neutral. It took the United States 3 years of this to finally get angry enough to fight back. The Zimmermann telegram was a secret message that proposed the idea of a military alliance between Germany and Mexico before the United States entered the war. This telegram was supposed to be a secret and go directly to the Mexican government, but the British government intercepted it. The plan was for Mexico to recover Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico with the help of the Germans. The telegram being intercepted and decoded by Britain was a big turning point. The Americans were now outraged. Since the United States and Britain were allies, the British shared their findings with the U.S. and the public was pissed. This telegram sparked unknown anger in the Americans and gave way to a need for the U.S. to join the war in order to defend their acquired territories. Another reason the United States joined the war was because anti-German propaganda was popping up everywhere. The propaganda started to get the American people fired up. The posters depicted the German government consuming the world, as well as depicting Germany as a giant monster that was coming to kidnap women and destroy anything in its path. Americans prided themselves in being strong and able, so these cartoons scared them. What if they were right? The propaganda encouraged American people to start preparing for war in order to defend their homes. The U.S. was to declare war on Germany. With a vote of 373 to 50 in the House of Representatives, the U.S. was to join the war and fight against Germany. Despite the United States wanting to stay neutral in the war under President Woodrow Wilson, they ended up joining the fight. The continued sinkage of unarmed ships through unrestricted submarine warfare, the Zimmermann telegram, and anti-German propaganda, the United States felt it was necessary to join the fight. A year after the country joined, the war came to an end. The United States joining the war in 1917 was a huge turning point.